And welcome back to Bitcoin Advisors channel. My name is Chris, bringing it to you here from Westlake Village, California, where it is going to be another beautiful day. And I wish you all a blessed and highly favored day. And what we're going to talk about today, some Bitcoin price targets, some of our top altcoins, price targets, and whether we are a little bullish or bearish on this market. By the way, don't forget to hit the like button. That'll help out the channel. And what I'd start off saying is traditional markets are going to continue to run this market. So I'm going to start it off with Nasdaq on the daily here. Continuing with the downside move, and it looks like next stop is going to be around 12,200 with any kind of a daily. I mean, we already had the daily closure below this and below this pivot right here, this wick right here, and that should give us an extension target if we do a fib retracement. I mean, this could be actually a bit lower of a target, but so technically the target is down to about 11,500, but I would reserve bounce at 12,200. And let's take a look at some of the lower term time frames. And you can see the 4 hour is coming down hard, rejecting the green 55 and the yellow 21, riding the 9 exponential, getting a rejection there again. So we've got another 4 hour closure with some volume to the downside. And yeah, I would say momentum is continuing to the downside and volatility is about to max out. So that's about when this hits, 97 to 100 percentile. I'll be looking for the market to kind of cool off. As volatility comes down, we probably see a corrective bounce. And that would be in line with Bitcoin getting some kind of a corrective bounce. However, as long as the dollar is doing this and, basically buckshotting to the moon and taking out our 103 target, let's see, on the shorter term time frames, what would be the next target? Any kind of a 4 hour closure above there, and I'll move our next target up to 104.14. And that's, with a 4 hour closure back above 103.82. That's not very helpful. Let's take a look on the daily here. And what does the daily look like? Let's see here if I can zoom in. Did we get a wick down to the 9 exponential? Not quite, but could you consider that a test? Or are we just getting a bit of a backfill here before it comes down? And to me, I mean, this thing looks bullish as ever. So I'm more in line with a little more upside on the dollar, a little more downside with Nasdaq and including Bitcoin. So let's get on to, and so when the dollar does finally want to come back down, that's about when you could expect some kind of a relief rally here. So following up what we had been saying on the daily time frame, any kind of a daily closure below 39,000 very likely gets a shot down to 37 with a small bounce, and continuation down to 34.4 to fill out this wick right here. So here's what I would say. There is going to be a few drives of bullish divergence here coming from this point here. So we'd have 1, 2, 3 higher lows in RSI from, it's from this point right here. Yeah, from this point right here. And that would give us the 3 drives of bullish divergence. Again, price making higher lows, 1, 2, 3 higher lows. How would we confirm that, though? We need to confirm that with a daily closure above this wick at 38,705. Today, if Bitcoin can close, call it Bitcoin above 38,800. I'd be looking for a shot at least up to 39,700 to 40,000 at a minimum, with a first target and a second target up to 41,000. So that would be kind of the hopium case for a pity bounce here on Bitcoin. However, on the other side, where would I call this a bear trap? So we can take this long daily downtrend extension using a fib retracement down to the wick low. And I would say any kind of a daily closure back above, call it 43,600. And I would call this a bear trap, and very, very likely we revisit the highs of 48,000. And if we can break 48, the next stop is going to be 53.5. up to this blue, the end of the 1618 on that fib retracement. That's on a bullish retracement. On the other side, if we want to do a bearish retracement, and do we want to mediate it with this? Yeah. So I would say any kind of a daily closure back below 36.5 or call it 37,000. Again, first target 34.4 and a second target of 31,000. And that would look, like Bitcoin wants to play out some of the downside action that we talked about. Again, we did have a monthly closure, which we had been talking about as well. And we did say any kind of a monthly closure below the yellow 21. Let's pull it up on the BLX index. Any kind of a monthly closure below the yellow 21, very, very likely begets us continuation down to 25,000 over the next 3 to 6 months. Monthly signals take 3 to 6 months to play out. So don't expect it to happen all in one day. And yeah, that was a pretty bearish closing for the month. There wasn't very much volume on it, but that's a bearish candle. And additionally, we do have this on the secondary chart here. We had the MACD cross to the downside for the first time in a very long time. This has produced some pretty significant corrections in the past, most notably the last one, July of 2018. July of 2018, Bitcoin was at about 8,500 and came all the way down to 3,200. So, that was a pretty good 60% correction after that signal played out. So from the signal given, call it right here, down 45% from here. Yeah, puts us right in line, right around 25, 26,000, somewhere in that range. That would be the target there. Let's take a little fib retracement here on this last consolidation and say, let's see if we can line that up further with our targets here. And yep, so, really you wait for the monthly to close below 33 and that gets you the move down to 25 that we're looking for on the downside. That would be to the downside. And so, again, on the daily time frame, if we can get back above this guy right here, this would be our hopium standpoint. Really at 43,000, that'll be the first inkling that, hey, we might have a bit of a bear trap being set in. Still holding this trend line, but because some of the higher term timeframes have already produced some very bearish signals, including the 5-day, which on CME did cross down last week. So we got Stokes crossing down. All we're waiting for is volatility to reclaim the exponential. On spot price, we want to see it get back above the 20 percentile read, which is right here. And these 5-day signals have produced nothing less than a 45% move going back to a very long time. And it could be 45% to the upside or to the downside. But with momentum to the downside, along with, do we have any divergences playing out here? So, from this low. No, we don't have any hidden bullish divergence. With the last chance for hope there, we want RSI to make a lower low and price to make a higher low. So could we put in that higher low right around 32.4 and play out a nice little bounce? We'll have to see. 5-day closure comes up in the next 3 days and 7 hours. And again, these signals take about 35 to 45 days to play out on a 5-day signal. And that signal is just about confirmed, and we will confirm that in the next 3 days and 7 hours. What else do we have on the board here that I wanted to talk about? Next Fed meeting date. So I don't know why it doesn't show up here. February, March. It says 16th to the 17th. I know there's an FOMC meeting coming up this week. They're going to go over the labor numbers, and then they're going to go over. They're going to go over raising the interest rates. Whether they raise it, yeah, May 3rd and 4th. So the 4th, Wednesday. So the 3rd, they go over the labor numbers. The 4th, they are going to go over. What are they going to go over? The 4th, they're going to raise interest rates by 0.5 basis points. They're going to go over the inflation numbers from April. So, hey, if inflation comes out worse than expected, who knows how, they could go up 75% basis points. That would kill the market. Either way, I think 0.5 point rate hike is going to hurt this market pretty bad. So, be on the lookout for some downside market entries, around 30. You might take a stab at 34, 30, and then the golden goose zone probably around 25,000. That being said, I'm going to move on to Ethereum, which is pretty much doing the same thing on the 5-day. Momentum to the downside. Volatility is about to expand, and I'd be looking for this thing to do whatever Bitcoin does. So I think we were talking about last week with the daily closure below 2,800. Next stop, 2026. Really, I could probably move that down to about 2,500 and with a small bounce, and then probably continuation down to 2,300 to 2,200, somewhere in that range. So where would we get bullish again? Again, we take the fib retracement from the high to the low, and above the 618, above 3,300, I would be looking for this thing to revisit the highs at 36 and then head up towards about $4,000. So that, hey, who knows? On Friday, the Fed might say, hey, we're only going to raise rates by 1/4 basis points instead of 0.5 basis point. That would help out markets. Just real quickly, underlying market dynamics. We've got open interest, 12.5 billion, so not quite above the 13, 14 billion where we get those 25% corrections. And then the leverage ratio here is just to the moon right now. Leverage is way, way up. So big move. As open interest ticks up and leverage ticks up, I expect price to go in the direction of the trend, current downtrend. Currently, we're sitting at a 28 in the fear and greed index, so we're still in the fearful zone. Again, bounces come, big bounces around 10. Not a guarantee as well. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. Now, another one we were looking at was Mr. Ape coin. Mr. Ape is aping out here to the downside. I put out a little short video last week saying, hey, if you're going to ape into this thing, you better ape in bearishly. It was a buy the rumor, sell the news type of event. They announced Thursday last week they were going to be auctioning off their metaverse lands. Those metaverse lands got absolutely sold to the moon right on Saturday. That was the sell signal. Buy the rumor, sell when the news breaks. And this thing absolutely coming down hard. And so I'm going to get on the shorter term time frames. There's not a whole lot of price history. And we are hitting my last target of 1439 off this 4-hour ascending triangle. Actually, it was an hourly ascending triangle that did break down from this level. And I may have to take some profits right now. Does this thing get extended is the question. So momentum will remain to the downside as long as we are closing below 1451. Okay, this hourly is closing at 11 minutes and 14 seconds. And what else do I got to say on the hourly here? So we got 11 minutes left. How's the 15-minute looking? The 15-minute kind of already hitting the target. And do we have any divergences playing out? Well, from this point right here, we would have 1, 2, 3, 4. If we can confirm this as a local low, How would we confirm that? Well, one, if we close this candle back above 1465, 1465, do you want to take some profits here? I don't know. How low can she go? Are we trending below the bottom side Trollinger Band? This is what I like to use in trending moves. And as long as we are closing below the Trollinger Band here, that means trend is in motion, right? Once we, usually the first closure above on the 5 minute, did we get that yet? Nope. So still coming down on the 5 minute. And how are the Stokes? So volatility is decreasing, about to tick back up here, and that would look good for another leg down. That would look good for another leg down. What do we have on the... What do we have on our RSI here? Do we have any divergences? So we're taking out all these lows on the 15 minute. Not quite yet. Not quite yet. We're not taking out this low yet. So if RSI wants to come down a little bit further, you know, in down markets, you typically want to move this blue box down to the 20 percentile. If you get below the 20 percentile on the RSI, that's typically a buy signal. When's the last time that happened? Back here. So we hadn't gotten below the RSI, below a 20 percentile, pretty much ever on ApeCoin, except here, which I'm willing to bet, what did price do there? Price bounced hard. So that was the low at 11, bounced to 1185. I guess that wasn't that big of a bounce, but so how do I mediate ApeCoin on the hourly time frame, which is coming down? I'm going to take off these Bollinger Bands so you guys can see what I'm looking at. Here we go. Let's zoom in. Hourly coming down still, and Stokes will remain down as long as we close below 1451. And when we get into this critical zone, that doesn't mean we're oversold. That just means we're trending, right? On the 2 hour time frame, we are crossed back down. We'll cross up above 1522. The 2 hours about to close here. So really, I'm really close to taking a nice little profit here on this asset. Been short for some time here. And who else do we want to check in on? Comp getting down to $100. We said, hey, that might be a good buying opportunity. The all-time low looks like it's going to continue onwards and downwards. We got momentum cross to the downside. We got volatility increasing above the 20 percentile. And we're just making another lower high here. Lower high. So next target down is going to be $98. Tezos heading down to our target. We measured this move out here some time ago off of a daily closure below there of the ascending triangle, and we are coming down to that target at 237. Looks like the next stop here. And yeah, reversal is going to be back, you know, above, probably above this guy at 345. That would look good for a reversal on the daily time frame. Did we take a look at him kind of holding itself up? What else is interesting on the board here? Anything else? Zilliqa down 7%, and this one's going for the full retrace back down to 45 cents. Probably a small stop at 56 cents. XRP heading down to our 50-cent target. Are we there yet? Not quite. Let's move this down and say that is our target on Mr. XRP. Taking it on the chin. Sand really getting beat up here too. Sand got a measure move headed down towards 127. That's a bit bearish. And we did close below the green 55, continuation to the downside. Yeah, it looks like 114 is in the cards here. 114 in the cards. And so what is Bitcoin doing here to wrap this up? And you know, all the altcoins are going to do whatever Bitcoin does. I do suspect that, you know, the altcoins kind of lead this party to the downside. So they're going to be an indicator of what Bitcoin is going to do. And on the daily. So if we reject here and close anywhere below 37, call it 37,000, next target's going to be 34. Okay. And again, reversals are going to come above the 618 off of this. So above 43,000, looking for a little bit of a bear trap and probably revisit 47 to 48,000. So hopefully that was helpful for today, guys. We'll be covering Bitcoin every day this week, so feel free to tune in. Also, you know, remember, we're not financial advisors. It's not financial advice. And if you did like the video, feel free to subscribe, get, you know, all the future updates that we roll out and some of the short videos. And if you want to find out how to put Bitcoin or other cryptos in your IRA, there is a link in the description below. Feel free to get a free investor guide. Hope you have a blessed day. Take care. Take care. Take care.